Shut up and sit down. And sit down.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 360 Sports Show, coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. I am Andrew Pizzelli. He is Christian Lauber. Welcome to the show. We're digging the Monday nights here. You know, it's the summertime, enjoying the weekend, and now you can relax. And it kind of works out because we have a ton to react to. NBA free agency open today. We're also going to talk about NFL training camps, NHL free agency, baseball, the Olympics, tons and tons and tons to get to. But we will start with the still breaking news, NBA free agency. If at any time you want to jump in and talk about that, hit us up in the comment section of any of the live streams, or you can always email the show, the360sportshow at gmail.com, and we'll get right to your questions, comments, or concerns. And so that's where we're going to start. Christian, NBA stuff is, today's a crazy day. We always know the money has been getting crazier and crazier every year. This year's no different. Where do you want to start with this free agency as it's evolving while we're on the air? Where should we start? I'll let you begin.
Let me unmute myself first, but
that's the first time that's happened, by the way. Can we say we've been doing this virtual thing now for like over a year plus? It'll be 2 years of January if we're still doing it. And that's the first time one of us has been muted. We get an award for that. Yeah, now you're just faking it.
Yeah, now I'm just faking it. But here's where I'll start. This is silly day as per usual. These contracts today that are coming out already is just stupid. Most notably, Nerlens Noel getting $32 million. Doug McDermott making $42 million.
Duncan Robinson,
$90 million. It's just money's going out the door like it's nothing. And for some reason, this is the NBA. I don't know. I don't even know where to begin because I just think like this league is just madness.
All right. Let's run down. There was a big trade. We'll get to that, but let's just talk the free agency. The signings we know of today as we're evolving here. Jimmy Butler signed an extension. Let's scroll down. I had the whole list pulled up here. 4-year extension, $184 million. The final year of that deal will pay him $50 million. Bing, guaranteed on the books. We'll quickly run through each of these. Is this a good signing for the Miami Heat?
Yes, I think it is. I don't know. Like the Heat already have, Bam, Butler, Lowry. They're kind of putting something together. And I think considering what's out there, and then obviously Duncan, I don't know. Like all of these deals for the Heat are just maddening in some respect. Like Duncan Robinson shouldn't be making $90 million. I don't know how that happened. He's undrafted and he's a good shooter, but he's not like premier player in the league. So the Heat are just spending money out the wazoo here today already. Robinson, Butler extension, Lowry. So we can just hit on all three of them. It's just like absolutely ridiculous what they're doing. I think it makes them better, I guess. The Robinson one withstanding, but Lowry coming in is a good move for them.
Yeah, and he was close to going there at the trade deadline. It was actually kind of weird. He was like, well, I'm getting traded to Philly or Miami at the trade deadline, and then it didn't happen. And he was like, oh, hi, I'm still in Toronto. Okay. I think the Heat are positioning themselves to, we're just paying what it's going to cost to retain these players in the hopes of winning a championship or two in the next 3-4 years, or at least one, at least get one, because guess what? When Jimmy Butler's 36 being paid $50 million, it ain't going to be worth it. And you're going to have to eat that because nobody is going to trade for Jimmy Butler when he's 36 making $50 million. It's not going to happen. People wouldn't do that if it was LeBron James. It would not happen. So in the end, that contract, whether it's worth it or not will be if they win anything, which I don't know if they will. Like,
you want to hear a breaking Evan Fournier contract?
Give it to me.
He is going to the New York Knicks, 4 years, $78 million.
Wow. 4 for 7. So what's the math there? How quickly can you divide, Christian?
Just shy of 20 million.
Let's see. 4 divided. What did you say? 4 for
78. So it's just shy of 20. It's like 19.
19.5, which is what he thought he was going to get. That's what all the numbers said around there. But I mean, what were the Celtics willing to offer? Because that's more than I'd want to pay. But if the Celtics, if you're willing to offer 18, which I thought they were, because everybody kind of said 15 to 18 to retain Evan Fournier.
Well, here you go. I mean, this is from Brian Robb of, I believe, 98.5. He just said, according to sources, the Celtics weren't willing to go 4 years. So I guess it was more the term than the money. I don't know.
Because that would put him, past? No. You'd have, him and Tatum expiring at the same time? Is that what I'm looking at there?
That's right. Him and Brown or him and Tatum, one of the two combinations, yeah.
That's weird. I don't know. So we'll digest that in a second. We'll wrap that in because I know we're going to have a long thing on the Celtics. The Heat, the money won't be worth it at the end, but if you win a championship in the middle, that's what it was going to cost. To keep Jimmy Butler, it's just what it's going to cost these guys. It's stupid money, but that's what it's going to cost. Same thing, Chris Paul. I'm actually really surprised that he signed a big deal. 4 years, $120 million for a guy at his age. And, I mean, they're trying to run it back. I guess they didn't want to turn it over to the young guys. They wanted to keep Chris Paul there. I'm just stunned at the money. In the years.
Yeah.
4 years? Because he's what?
Ridiculous.
Is he 36 right now? How old is Chris Paul?
I believe that's right.
Right?
Yeah, 36. Yeah.
36. So, and he'll be 37 in May. So you're going to be paying him when he's 41? That's crazy.
But what other option does Phoenix have? That's where I'll start. Just because what do they get anybody really in free agency? Probably not. Paul was already there, so you retain him. So I don't know.
But what is he going to be? Is he going to be Chris Paul that you had last year?
I think he'll be somewhat close, but he's not going to be the same guy as last year.
He's going to.
You're banking on Booker jumping. You're banking on Ayton jumping.
Yeah, I mean, he can't be like, it's Chris Paul's team. Devin Booker's now got to take that next step. Chris Paul you have to expect him to more or less pick his spots. And his value will come in playoff time. A veteran. And he'll do everything that he did up until the finals where he I don't know if it was injury. He's going to have wrist surgery. I don't know if that eventually caught up with him. But you can't look at it and say Chris is going to carry us, which he did at times. The other guys are going to have to pick up the slack. So they're trying to run it back. I mean, I think it definitely helps the Suns if he can give them, just 80% of what he gave them last year. That still keeps them as a very, very, very good team, and in contention. Lonzo Ball, he's a name that people had kind of tied to the Celtics, and everybody expected him to go via a sign-in trade, and that's what happened. And he gets signed and traded to the Chicago Bulls. 4 years, $85 million. Honestly, that's not bad. It's not a bad contract, and I think that he's shown. I think once he's gotten away from the Lakers and a little bit more removed from his dad, and let LaMelo kind of take more of the spotlight with Daddy, he's flourished. I mean, he's improved every year.
Yeah, he's been a pretty good player.
We already know from the get-go that he was a good facilitator and a good defensive player. His shot has improved. I thought he would have been a great fit on the Celtics. I don't know if they just, again, is it a 4-year thing? Did they just not want to offer 4-year contracts, or did they just not want to give up Marcus Smart? I don't know, because I would have done that swap in a heartbeat. Because if you keep Marcus Smart, you're going to be paying him. You're going to be paying him the same amount of money. And if you just let Marcus Smart walk and you didn't do a trade, I mean, what are you going to do with that cap space next year? I realistically don't know. But he goes to the Bulls, which the Bulls are like one of the Bulls are just going to be one of these 8-7 seeds. They're trying to build something, but obviously
they don't be better than you.
They might. They don't have the top end talent to win a championship, I don't think. But
you being the Celtics, that is, obviously.
Both.
Yeah.
But, well, I'd say the Celtics have better top end talent. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum might take over anybody on the Bulls, right?
Yeah, well, how much did that
I'm just saying.
Did that help last year?
I'm just saying, but you're right as well. But I'm just saying neither one is winning a championship this year. So good for the Bulls. Trae Young signs a massive extension. That was expected. And the big one is the trade. Russell Westbrook traded to the Lakers. GM LeBron, I guess, gets his guy. I don't know what the history there is between those two. It just seems like LeBron just says, he just picks a guy every year. Okay, you know what? I'll take you. And they somehow make it work. Like, Montrezl Harrell helped that situation. He, didn't have to pick up his player option, and he did to make that trade work. I don't know what LeBron greased those skids with. Do you think Westbrook, LeBron, AD, big three, I think it looks nice on paper. Will it actually work? Will it make the Lakers better?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it makes them better for sure. I just think Westbrook's a guy that can take the ball out of LeBron's hands, number one. Number two, he does a bit of everything, which I feel like the Lakers missed with Rondo leaving and Schroeder coming in. They missed on, Rondo's a little bit of everything. He can assist. He'll take the ball out of LeBron's hands. He can rebound and he can pass. So I think you get some of that with Westbrook now. And I think he's obviously a better player than Rondo, but he plays defense. He tries, which is a big thing. And he takes some heat off of the other two who have been riddled with injuries. So you probably don't need to play those guys 75 minutes every, 2 games because he's there now. So hopefully you can take some of that, some of those minutes off the two of them, being Davis and LeBron. And he does, like I said, I think the biggest thing is he's a triple-double machine, which in the NBA, I mean, look, that could be, he just gets a bunch of lackluster rebounds, but I think he's a guy that tries. So
yeah,
he's a bigger guard and he can do a bit of everything. So I think it helps them and it definitely pushes them up.
Do you think in the only way it works, this is my thought, is that LeBron has to be the guy, because in the big threes, there's always one guy who takes less, right? Garnett, Pierce, Allen, the big three in Boston.
Yep.
Pierce and KG did their thing. Ray Allen kind of had, similar skills to Pierce, not as much as a dribble drive guy. He was more like, he was the guy who had to sacrifice the most. I'm going to be more of a spot-up three-point shooter. I'm going to come off screens, but I'm going to give up more touches for those two guys. And it worked because they all bought in. That's always the problem with these big threes, is I always thought LeBron in Miami, Chris Bosh is a Hall of Fame level post player who got relegated with a max contract to stand in the corner. Same to Kevin Love. Why pay that guy $30 million for his name when you could just have role players that just sit in the corner and shoot threes at a proficient rate? So that's why we've seen kind of this more move towards the big two. The only way the big three, I think, works is if one guy, you have to have guys that have different skill sets. That's why I wondered what the Nets were going to be, because Durant, Irving, and Harden all kind of do the same thing. And we still will find out if they're all healthy, if it'll work. How will that work now with LeBron and Russ? Because Russ don't shoot threes. So you're not going to have both, and you're not going to take Davis out of the paint all the time. You're not going to have both of those guys standing on the wings. So isn't it going to have to be, listen, Russ, the ball is in your hands. And LeBron is going to be the one who has to take that step back and play without the ball more for it to work. Because Westbrook doesn't shoot. So, which maybe LeBron's happy with at this point. Later stage of his career, doesn't have to play with the ball all the time, less wear and tear, like we saw with Rondo running the point. Isn't LeBron going to be the one who's going to have to buy in, you think, the most to make it work?
I agree with that to some extent, but also I think that's what he kind of does, especially at this stage of his career. I don't think he's not looking to be like the LeBron when he paired up with D Wade and just be like the absolute focal point, him and Wade, and then Bosh is kind of, your stand around all-star player, but he's going to take a much lesser role. I don't think he's looking to be all-star LeBron from, 10 years ago. So
high flying.
Yeah, exactly. And it takes some of the pressure off him. I mean, Westbrook's a guy that's going to go to the paint. So not only does it help him and Davis, but I just feel like you have a third option now. It just gives you more versatility. And he's a little bit bigger, like I said. So he can defend out there as well. So again, if you have a bigger guard and you want LeBron to match up somewhere, you can shuffle it around that way. You have more size than with like Schroeder or someone like that.
Yeah. This is just an oddity, I find. Westbrook's making more than LeBron. Normally, you think about locker rooms in sports, like the best player is the one who makes the most money, and teams kind of organize it like, hey, no one makes more than Brady, right? No one makes more than Peyton.
Sure.
No one would usually make more than LeBron. I just think it's a little quirk that, Westbrook's getting paid more than your top two best players. Like, LeBron and AD are better than Westbrook. I still think LeBron's better than Westbrook now just as an individual player.
I would agree, but the age is definitely a factor in that. 32 to 36, I don't know if you're going to, it is LeBron James, don't get me wrong, but are you going to pay a 36-year-old LeBron James as much as 24? Probably not. So there's a 4-year age gap. Now, Davis, I think, is the best of the three when he's healthy at this stage, just based on LeBron's older. Russ is what he is at this stage, and I think Davis has the most upside still. And he's a guy that just feels like he can do pretty much anything on the court.
Do you think that they can win a championship by paying those three guys all the money they're paying them and filling in the rest of their roster with the scrap heap?
Yes.
So you've got Trevor Ariza, who's on his last leg, taking nothing. Can they win with scrap heap and those three?
Yes, I believe so. I think you have obviously you start with LeBron and Davis. That's good alone as is, and then you add Russ to that, and then they're going to get some decent players. I still like Ariza. He's an energy guy. He plays defense, and that's kind of what you want. You want like a James Posey type. Play defense, stand in the corner, shoot threes, something like that. Come off the bench, give a good 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Another guy, Dwight Howard, signed back, so gives them size inside. And I'll be honest, Dwight Howard had one of his best years in
with
terms of and he gave up, he's not like Dwight Howard with the Magic or anything like that. He's not a young Dwight Howard, but he gave them good minutes, paint presence, all of that. So I think when you look at it, I think they can fill in, the spaces there with any, and a lot of those guys will want to go there. We've seen that. So
yeah,
you're at the tail end, you want to win. Dwight Howard, Trevor Ariza, guys that still can give you good minutes. Come on and play with the Lakers. I think that's still a draw.
Here's their roster right now. Westbrook, Ariza, Wayne Ellington, Dwight Howard, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Marc Gasol, Alfonso McKinney. That's it. And they have negative $62 million in cap space.
Well, there you go. They just lost another one. And Alex Caruso is going to the Bulls.
Yeah. So I'm just going to be... We always say, when we talked about this last week, like, how are you going to fill out a team? You always are able to get guys, but there does come a point where when you're paying Westbrook 44, LeBron 41, Davis 35, it eventually does become difficult to put, you're not going to have enough good guys take the veteran minimum. You're just not.
Sure.
So it'll be interesting.
The NBA is about stars, and I know you don't like good players, but 3 good players and then a bunch of guys that will fill in is pretty good roster.
We'll see. What's crazy? Guess whose contract they're still paying out? Luol Deng. His money is still that's like, those are the little things that, like, I mean, luckily the Lakers are in LA. They don't have to worry about it. But if you are a small market team and you have a contract like that that's just still eating up $5 million of space, like, that's a mid-level exception that you just can never offer because
ridiculous.
because you signed a guy to a horrific contract and then just wanted to get rid of him. So you're just so pretty soon we have Bobby Bonilla Day. We're gonna have Luol Deng Day. Today is officially Luol Deng Day. He got $5 million. So yeah, we'll see if it can work out. I'm always interested in that, how these teams that pay 3 guys the most fill out, and if it'll work. So let's just talk now on the Boston Celtics, who have to this point have done nothing as far as free agency goes. I don't even know if those trades are officially processed, because it seems like I don't know what the holdup is. Allegedly, we're supposed to be getting Chris Dunn, Josh Richardson, and
Bruno Fernando.
Yeah. So I think these trades haven't officially been processed. I don't know why. I don't know what they're waiting on.
The roster on ESPN is updated, but I don't know if that's, if those are actually transactionally done.
Yeah, or just
the
like
rosters are updated. So
yeah. So we'll see if any of that changes, but that is expected to all happen. Free agent wise, they haven't done anything. Which everybody's like, some people are mad about, but it's like, realistically, the only thing I thought was going to happen was Lonzo Ball potentially sign and trade, and maybe bringing Fournier back. And now that neither of those things have happened, you're really going to have to just wait for these like second and third tier guys. It feels very much like, I said this to you this morning, all the moves they've made so far, getting Kemba out of here as quick as possible and getting Al Horford back, as we talked about with his financial flexibility with his contract, and all the other moves, jettison these certain guys, they're really just trying to position themselves for next year. And I think they're treating this as a bridge year.
It is, yeah.
And that just has to be the expectation. I mean, I thought that should have been maybe more of the approach last year, but unfortunately it's the approach they're taking this year, which I'm completely fine with. I was done, like, let's trade everything for Damian Lillard, and because I just don't think they're ready for that. I don't.
What's the plan, though? How long are you going to wait?
Well, I think next summer there's just more options. You're going to have actual money you can spend. Like right now, if you wanted to bring back Fournier, the reason I didn't think it was going to happen was because you were going to be into the luxury tax to the point, like, Wick was going to have to pony up 30, not fake money. Actually, he was just going to have to straight up pay $30 million to, like, keep Fournier. For a team that's probably only 500, in that you're viewing as a 500 team, 7-8 seed, maybe, if they really overachieve a 4 or 5, but not winning a championship, are you going to pay $30 million out of pocket for a role player? I wouldn't. So I think they're focused on not like building the young guys, like, let's just keep Grant Williams and Tremont Waters. We already know a lot of these guys are going to be gone. I think you're going to see some condensing, and it's already begun. I think you're going to fill out this team the way Brad has wanted it when he was a coach, which was, yes, we've got young stars, but I want veterans coming off the bench to help steady them. Not, first and second round picks who have never played in the league and are trying to get their own feet wet and also support a team trying to win a championship. Wasn't going to work. I think he did the best with the players he was given, and, but at this point, you can see the moves they're making. Guys like Richardson, in talks with guys like Jeff Green, maybe Avery Bradley coming. Like, they're trying to put veterans on this team instead of all the main Red Claws.
Well, Jeff Green's signed, right? So he's off the table.
He's
so
off
then
the
you
table.
go to the next one.
As is Kelly Olynyk.
Olynyk's off the table, thank God. And
the only guys I'd have interest in are Avery Bradley and Isaiah Thomas. And I guess now there's word that Isaiah Thomas is not going to happen, which, boo! You need to reverse the curse. I swear. It's felt bad from the beginning. Gordon Hayward getting injured was like the surest sign that, like, doing wrong by IT
Bad
might come.
mojo.
Bad mojo, man. Undo it. Bring him back. Bring him back. Just to be like a third point guard. Or even if you want him to be the backup. Like, let him and Peyton Pritchard, like, I think Isaiah would just be happy to be here.
I think so.
And
Is he even on a team? No, right?
no, he's not. So that's annoying because it would cost you like nothing. Come on. But I don't know. Give me your thoughts. I mean, I definitely think they're planning for next year. I think a guy like Marcus Smart probably is traded at the deadline. I think he would have been in a Lonzo Ball deal. And now he'll get his chance to just play his role. New coach, right? Udoka likes him. Is it Udoka or Udoka? I've heard it both ways.
Ime Udoka, I think.
Udoka. So I think he's going to give him a chance, but Marcus is going to have to actually know his role, which is now to be the starting point guard and facilitate the ball, play defense, and take the occasional shot.
Good luck.
And if it doesn't happen, he's gone because they're not going to give him the money he wants, and they're not going to just like keep him around to like be a nuisance if that's how they view him. So he'll get traded by the deadline. I think they give him a chance. I think they give him a shot first half of the year because they don't really have any other options.
Yeah. Well, what is the plan next year? So you say there's more free agents, but who the hell are they going to sign and who wants to come here?
Let's see.
Because all we do is we were waiting for the draft picks. We're young. We have all this time. Tatum and Brown aren't getting any younger, and their contracts aren't getting any longer. So they got to make some moves here to keep those guys around.
All right, here you go. You want your there's some just
realistic options.
There's just some names. I'm just gonna run down the list of names because you know. See, me and you, Christian, I mean, are somewhat realistic and who will and will not come here. But there's always the fans who are just gonna glom onto the top name, be like, "Let's get them." And you know there'll be people who will want to do something. So he's in here, but here you go. This is sorted by salary. So this is sorted by this year's salary, 2021-22. Free agents next year. John Wall. Yes or no? Would you want John? We'll just play yes or no with you, Christian. Would you want him on the Celtics next year? John Wall.
No.
James Harden.
No.
Russell Westbrook.
No.
Kevin Durant.
Yes.
Would he sign here?
No.
Okay. Stephen Curry.
Yes.
Would he sign here?
Yes. Just kidding. No, he won't.
Bradley Beal.
Yes. And would he sign here? I think maybe. Yes. That's probably your best so far.
That's one. Kemba Walker. I'm not even going to ask.
No.
Jimmy Butler. I think this just hasn't updated because he has signed. Kyrie Irving.
Yes. No.
Would he sign here?
Definitely not. Definitely
No.
not. Would we pay him a couple of dollars to come back and put some paint back on the logo there that he scraped off with his shoe? Maybe.
All right. Now here we go. Now this is getting into, all right, Tatum and Brown are the superstars. Let's fill out the team with some stars to help support. Ready? Here's the names. Gary Harris.
No.
Julius Randle.
Sure. On the right contract.
Okay. But do you think he would want to sign here?
Doubtful.
Aaron Gordon.
No.
Zach LaVine.
Yeah, I would take Zach LaVine. Sure. Would they pay him? No.
Would he want to come here? Probably not.
Yeah.
Terry Rozier.
No.
Goran Dragic.
No.
Ricky Rubio.
No.
Rudy Gay.
No.
Jonas Valanciunas.
Yeah, maybe. Depends on what your center position looks like, but that's an option.
Would he sign here?
Probably.
I think that's so far we've got Bradley Beal and Jonas Valanciunas. Thaddeus
Young
Young.
For the Grizzlies, so I hope you'd sign here. No.
Patrick Beverly.
No.
Joe Ingles.
Yeah, I'd think about it.
And we'll end this list here with Marcus Smart.
No.
There you go, folks. I mean, that's the best of it. I mean, you got down the line, you got Nurkic. You don't need that. TJ Warren, though, I mean, that's an interesting name. But again, what are some of these guys going to command, right? Like, is TJ Warren going to want, like, right now he's making $15 million.
Oh, he's probably going to get
30.
He's probably going to get Duncan Robinson.
So
Forget about that one.
Really, it's all about Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is your sole focus and your only option next year.
Yep.
So,
There you go.
how does that make you feel?
Not great. I'll be honest. I think the Celtics are quite screwed. They've had some unfortunate things over the last 4 years, and it's not getting any better. They have Tatum and Brown. If those two leave, one of the two leave, oh man, are they screwed? All the eggs that you have are in the Tatum basket at this point. So
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's literally what it's all about.
Yeah.
If they don't cater to his every need and keep him here for a long term, they got to restart. And who knows how long that'll take. This is going to be back to like Rafe LaFrance and just it's going to be bad. So better hope those two guys stick around.
Yeah. We'll see. We're trying to keep up to date if anything is
Derrick
happening.
Rose is back with the Knicks.
The Knicks are going to be a really interesting team. I mean, I think Fournier fits well with them. I mean, again, the money though is all crazy. We'll see. I mean, we'll see how it all pans out. But again, I don't know what smaller moves will come. There will be. I still think the Celtics are, even if they play better, like, hey, we're gonna actually work hard under Udoka and play defense again, and blah 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 blah. They're still fourth at best. At best.
Yeah, agreed.
So,
And I guess that trade that we were mentioning earlier is still not complete. So I don't know where that stands either. But maybe they're trying to find another team or they're trying to finagle something.
a third team
Yeah. Wacky NBA, man.
to
Wacky
milk like a
NBA.
2025 second round pick out of the Kings, something like that.
Yeah, probably.
So as free agency goes, we'll also talk about NHL free agency. If you have any thoughts or questions on the NBA stuff that's happened today, you can always email the show, the 360 Sports Show at gmail.com for our podcast listeners, or you can comment on the live stream right here while we're live. But we're going to move on to the NHL quickly. Christian, how about you take us through some of the names that went off the board and some of the changes here in the NHL before we talk about the Boston Bruins and where they're standing right now with their roster.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just start with Seth Jones is notable. He wasn't a free agent, but he was traded from Columbus to Chicago, which is a good pickup for them. They obviously, I believe they need some help back there, like incredibly bad, because Brent Seabrook is aged out and Duncan Keith is kind of aged out. So good move for them. He's in the 9.5 range. And then Dougie Hamilton, I just have to hit on this because this kills me. I mean, you think NBA contracts are bad? Like 7 years, $9 million per for Dougie Hamilton, who really doesn't play too
The
much.
7
defense.
years that's kind of crazy.
Even the $9 million is Dougie Hamilton.
But over
like,
7 years, I mean, that's not that crazy of a number.
but it's AAV $9 million.
Oh! I thought it was a $9 million contract for 7 years.
No. It's $9 million per. Yeah.
What?
For good old Dougie Hamilton, who really doesn't play much defense. I mean, I don't know if anybody's watched him play, but like, he's an all right player.
I saw he had signed with New Jersey. I saw the 7 years, and I think my brain just stopped there. Like, well, that's dumb.
So he's like top of the market for defensemen. I mean, he seriously, like he's him, Seth Jones, Cole Maker, all these guys. It's just insane. So those are some notable ones, and then obviously Grubauer, goalie, went to Seattle, the Kraken, recently. But I mean, the other notable one I would say would be Marc-Andre Fleury. He is now with Chicago. He got released by Vegas, presumably because Jack Eichel is still out there. He has not been traded, signed, anything like that. So that was the rumor, but who knows where that goes. And then it's a bunch of guys like, Halak is obviously, he left the Bruins, a bunch of goalies, and really no high notable free agents. I mean, I would say Taylor Hall is one of them, but he just was retained by the Bruins.
Yes.
The Maple Leafs obviously signed the Bruins trade deadline, Kasha and Nick Ritchie, so both of them are out. And then I'll just hit on some of the Bruins names because I think they got older a little bit, but they also brought in some depth pieces. So Foligno, good pickup for them. I like Foligno a lot. He's a veteran guy, hard-nosed guy, and he can play a couple positions, so they have some flexibility there. Ullmark, Linus Ullmark from Buffalo, who was very good considering he played for the Buffalo Sabres and they were absolutely awful. So
Yeah.
interesting though, note on him is now what do you do with Rask? They still want Rask to come back. I can't do this anymore. So I just will leave it there. I don't understand the fascination with Tuukka Rask. You have Swayman, they traded Vladar, and they brought in Ullmark for like starting goalie money. I mean, he's making $5 million per. So it's a weird situation. I wish they would just cut bait. They won't.
They owe him nothing at this point.
Exactly.
He's not under contract. You literally owe him nothing.
And he'll be back in January, February. If the other two are playing well,
At
I
best.
don't even sign him. And there's Sweeney, obviously. Flexibility, you can move. I just called a good goalie situation. Swayman can go down to the AHL. Well, if the kid's playing well, Rask, see you later. I mean, it's time to move on from some of these guys. And then I'll just rattle off a few more from the Bruins angle. Nosek, Hala Forbort, which is a good signing in a sense. He got a little bit overpaid, but overall, I like it because he adds size, and they need size back on the back end. And then the last note, I think, you're seeing some of this because they got to prep. I'm sure they have money coming off the books. I haven't taken an exact look at it, but Charlie McAvoy is going to get paid next year. Probably around $9.5-10 million, I would guess.
Yeah.
Probably 7-8 years, something like
Thanks to Dougie setting the market again.
Yeah. So if he's below Dougie Hamilton, I'll be shocked. I would imagine he will be in the upper echelon. That's $9.5 and $10 million, somewhere in there. So they're going to have to gear up and pay, and I think you do because he's really the face of the franchise at this point. So him and Pasternak are really it. But overall, I like all their moves. I think they hit some of their needs on the lower half of the roster. I mean, their third and fourth lines got torched in the postseason. So you add some depth there. And then the big note is David Krejci is no longer here. So he's going back to the Czech Republic, which means who the hell knows what happens. That's a big loss because I think him and Hall had something clicking there when Hall came over. And so now it's Charlie Coyle at $5.5 million. He's got to live up to that contract. It's now or never for him.
Yeah. And on Krejci, I mean, I think we thought last year was going to be his last year, and then they got Hall, and it seemed like he kind of really came to life.
Yeah.
So I think it probably speaks to the guy's probably done. Like, in his heart, he knows, like, because if it clearly isn't anything about, I don't think it's about money, because I think they're if they're willing to just like wait it out and like Tuukka come back, there's no way they chase David Krejci out the door.
Right.
So if he wanted to be here, he would be. Just ready, just time.
There is a loophole where he can be back before the end of the season. But it would be tough. He'd have to go through waivers, and it would be before the postseason. So he'd have to clear waivers before the trade deadline. So there's a loophole there. And the weird thing is he never said he was retiring. So I'm just curious if he has plans to come back to the NHL after 1 year in the Czech. I have no idea what his plans
That's
are.
odd. I mean, I just read it as I
That's
guess
how
you're
I read
right.
it too,
He didn't
but-
actually use the words retiring. Just I'm going to go play in the Czech Republic now.
Yeah. He wants to
No-
be with his family and stuff. So that's, yeah, I don't know. Even if the Bruins offered him like, hey, $8 million, would you do it? Maybe, but like no way they could offer that, number one. And number two, he just wants to go over that. I think he's always said he wants to go over there and play in front of his family, and his kids want to speak Czech and all this stuff.
Yeah. As far as his legacy goes, I mean, it's just incredible to think about how long he was a Boston Bruin for.
I know it.
And just, I mean, and it's crazy too. They won in 2011, and you felt like, wow, this is a team that's got a lot of talent. They've got a lot of really good young guys, and they never broke through again.
Yeah. Disappointing. Because he's another guy.
Because he's awesome. I mean, Krejci was awesome. I mean, did it. He was one of those guys that could do everything. And just his passing, so it was like the game was being played at half speed for him with his recognition and his ability to see plays develop.
People forget, too, back in 11, 10, 13 days, that was your number one line. He was the top center, really. I mean, it was him, Lucic, and Horton on that top line. So
yeah.
He was a guy that will be missed. I mean, I think, could you have traded him 4 years ago and got something? Maybe. But also the players, they control what, I don't want to play for anybody but the Bruins. They can say that. So,
yep.
But overall, he will be missed because I think you look at that second line now, it's like you got Coyle up there, sure, but is he Krejci? Not really. He's a different style of player.
Yeah. Nick brings us up in the comment section to circle back. Not sure if you guys covered it yet, but Alex Caruso is signing with the Bulls for 4 years, $37 million. We had seen that. Like we said, the Bulls are trying to build something. Don't know whether it'll be anything, but they'll be competitive in the East. Hey, they could be the Atlanta Hawks, right? And, they're a 5 seed, and if one team goes down with an injury and you get a favorable matchup, you find yourself in a conference final. That could be a lot of teams this year. The Pelicans, we think, could be a team like that. The Boston Celtics are more on the fringe, which is where they're making their moves. 2 reports, Christian. One that Marcus Smart is looking for a 4-year, $80-something million extension, which I don't think he's going to get.
No way.
And the second, this is from Chris Forsberg. This is going to break Christian.
Oh, God.
Celtics could send the Knicks a couple of second-round picks just so we can get a couple months of wondering about trade options for a new Evan Fournier trade exception. How do you feel about an Evan Fournier TPE?
So we can use it on the next Evan Fournier and then let him go for nothing again and keep let's just recycle the TPE until 2032 and see what happens.
How do we feel? I mean, looking back now, isn't that move a complete miss?
Oh, it's a failure. Yeah.
It's a complete
100%.
It's Danny's final failure. I mean,
yep. So for that TPE, what you got was half of a year of Fournier not even with COVID stuff, and then Josh Richardson.
Yeah.
That's a fail.
Don't you think now, though? I mean, looking at it, because Danny said all along, listen, we're not going to use it unless, we want to preserve that all for the summer. And obviously we know he lies. They all lie. And then he goes out and he gets a guy on a 1-year deal. And yes, they got his bird rights, which meant they could have signed him. And that was the talk. Well, we only got a 1-year deal, guy in an expiring contract. But hey, we can go over the cap to keep him. This is a good thing. We look at him as a long-term option. Obviously he's out the door now. Do you think this was Danny feeling the pressure? Because this was very much a move that you would have made for a guy if you were a championship contending team. Hey, we're trading for this guy. We're adding him into the mix to put us over the top. Knowing now that Danny was basically already on the way out,
yeah,
maybe he didn't want to be. Was this a desperate attempt at, I'm going to swing a move? I'm not going to go all the way because I don't want to have it completely blow up on the back end. But we're going to use most of this TPE. I'm going to get a guy that I could maybe keep next year. They could maybe keep. And hopefully it injects something. And maybe we go on a run. And maybe I don't have to leave my job.
I think it was fully Danny saying, oh, man, I got to make a move. I'm feeling pressure. I'm feeling heat. Let me make a move and just get something out of the way. Use some of the TPE. See what I can get. Evan Fournier said, okay, we're good.
Which means... That's
good. Really what I think.
Which I think means it's good that he's not the GM anymore.
Yeah,
you
100%.
can't make moves just because you're feeling pressure to make moves. You have to make the best moves for the team and deal with whatever fan media pressure there is.
Yeah,
I think Brad has been excellent so far. People wondered about what he would be capable of doing. Hey, it's just not that easy to be the GM.
I don't know about excellent, but I'd say he's done an okay job so far. Yeah.
If their mission is clear cap space, get this team's culture straight, and we'll work on adding bigger pieces next year. That every move they've made so far has been good.
Well, they still have some holes to fill, especially with Thompson going out the door, Moses Brown going to be going out the door. Obviously, those two are what they are. They're not huge key pieces to a championship run, but they're also two big guys that they could have used potentially.
Yeah. And so we'll keep you updated on the NBA stuff as it comes through. Ooh, here we go. Free agent center Daniel Tice has agreed to a 4-year, $36 million deal with the, want to guess?
Houston Rockets.
Yes, you just saw it, didn't you?
Yeah.
So Tice to the Rockets. So we're gonna keep you updated on all the NBA stuff as it comes in live.
Good for Tice.
right
Get
now.
some money. Get yourself paid. Good for Tice.
He deserves to get paid after being brutalized by officials for his entire Celtics career.
That's true. Maybe he'll get more respect now that he has $36 million in his pocket.
Yeah, he's not playing on a cheapo contract.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep moving along. We'll keep coming back to the NBA stuff as more news is breaking, since this is all unfolding live in front of us. Let's talk about the MLB trade deadline.
Oh God.
Man,
Let's do it.
we'll start with the Red Sox because they have gone from we're having this discussion. Are they Are they actually one of the best teams in baseball? They're having this breakout year, and I've said right along that I doubted it. And they do nothing essentially. They do nothing that really helped them. I think at the trade deadline, they go out and they get an outfielder, and they don't go get a starting pitcher, which the starting pitcher they needed,
Or first baseman.
or a first baseman. Rizzo's raking in New York.
That's got to make you feel good.
And then you follow it up by, hey, it looks like they're not going to make any moves. They're just going to keep kind of the team as is. Hey, we're going to get Sale back. And, we're going to have some of these injured guys come back. Schwarber will, he'll come back and we'll fit him in somewhere. And they played like crap.
Yeah, it's kind of it's too much of a coincidence.
Last night, Bogart says is a must-win to retain control of the division, and they don't come through. So the Red Sox now, after being in first place all year? I don't know. Were they ever not in first place?
They were not. They were back and forth with Tampa a little bit
In the very beginning. But in first place for the majority of the year. Now looking up at the Rays, who just swept them. Smoked them in one game.
Swept that ass.
So not good for the Red Sox. Christian, is this just a case of they are who we thought they were? Like, if the team is going to fall apart because they didn't go out and sell the farm that they tried to rebuild, or trying to rebuild, and go out and get Max Scherzer, they're like, oh, well, it's like you're on course to win 100 games and be good, but now you're just going to pout and, totally blow up the season. Aren't you not championship ready then?
I disagree. I think, number one, you could have gotten Rizzo for not giving up the farm system. They could have gotten maybe the ninth prospect in their system compared to what the Yankees gave up. And Chicago retained all the salary. So you don't have to worry about the luxury tax or any of the other crap that the Red Sox are spewing now that they want to stay under that threshold. So, no, I think Rizzo was the guy. For whatever reason, I have no explanation on why they didn't go after him. And then you got Schwarber, who's injured. So I think Schwarber could help you, but Rizzo's the better fit. He plays first. He's a left-handed bat. He's got power, and he absolutely just feels a need. He'd be a perfect guy here, perfect fit. And they went after Schwarber instead, who's injured, and he plays the outfield. So I don't know. Even if they didn't get a pitcher and they got Rizzo, I'd say, okay, much better, right? And I think the players would say much better. But seeing them do absolutely nothing, they're rumored to be in on all these guys, and then they just come away with Schwarber, who's injured, and a couple of no-name pitchers who suck. I wouldn't love that as a player either. So I don't know. I think, you know what? They were bound to have a streak like this throughout the season anyway. I don't think they've had a 4-game losing streak all year, which is kind of unheard of, especially for a team like this. But they still got Sale coming back. I don't think it's over by any means. They should hang on to a wild card spot still, one of the two, and get into the postseason. Now, can they be had now because I think everybody else got better? Absolutely.
So, honestly, I thought that even if they hung on to the division, I didn't really know what to expect out of them in the playoffs anyways. Like we said, hey, they could win 100 games and make the playoffs and not win a round. If they're a wild card team and you're like, hey, one game, got to have it, who are you putting on the mound out of this pitching staff for that game?
Depends on what Sale looks like when he's back, but Sale is the guy.
And I don't trust that. Not one bit.
I don't know. He's got balls. I think Sale is a guy that actually...
He's got balls, and he throws them 70 miles an hour.
No. I mean, he's throwing 95 right now, so I don't think he's lost... It's not like he's throwing... he's not like Pedro from 2008, 9, 10. He's throwing 88-mile-an-hour fastballs. Just a matter of what it looks like. I think it's Sale or Evaldi, just based on Evaldi's season so far, but he didn't play great the other night either. Pitched great. Rodriguez is the big one. He's absolutely sucked for you this year, and he could have come through. If he was having a good season, it's even better than it already is. Really, it comes down to those two. It depends on what Sale looks like, but I would say Sale just because he cares, maybe too much at times, and he's got balls to pitch in those spots.
Yeah.
But if he's healthy.
Nick brings it up in the comment section. Schwarber plays catcher. Also, they might try him at first. Do you think Schwarber... it's first base. Stand in the bag, catch the ball. Can Schwarber play first? And that's how they get him into the lineup?
He's played one game at first, I believe, in his entire career. So, can he play first? Sure, I could play first. Will I suck at it? Probably. They have Dahlbeck over there, and he can't scoop a ball out of the dirt, which is a huge part of first base.
Yeah.
Short hop to first base, you got to get an out, and he can't pick it. Look out. So, will they try it? I have no doubt they will. The Red Sox for years have tried putting anybody and everybody over.
Didn't they put Manny there at one point?
You might have that right, yeah.
I think they tried.
I just feel like they've tried pretty much anybody over there.
Yeah.
And Schwarber at least can hit, and he's not going to, I don't think he's going to play catch. So I would say, yeah, throw him at first base and see if he can learn it fast. Because he got, I don't even know, 60 games left. Yeah. It's almost over here. We're in August.
Are you more concerned about the pitching staff or the lineup going forward?
Pitching staff, without a doubt.
Yeah, I agree. It all comes down to arms. If you can't pitch, you ain't going to win anything in the postseason. We already mentioned, Rizzo goes to the Yankees. I think everybody else that decided to get in on the trade deadline got better. You could almost argue the Sox got worse because they got players that are not good or don't fit. You're gonna have to be like shuffling things. They're the only team that made. They're the only team that made moves that got worse. Well, the Giants are having a very similar. It's like the same deal.
Right. That's
rebuild ahead of schedule, but they bought on it.
Exactly. Chris Bryant. You go out and get Chris Bryant. That's a marquee name that can help you, and he's already raking there. So a lot of these teams, I know, like Rizzo's still the big one to me. I was initially saying, if you're gonna have to give up too much for Rizzo, like Houck or Duran or someone stupid like that, do not do it. But they wouldn't have had to do that based on what the Yankees gave up. The comp is not much. It's really not much. So overall, I just feel like Rizzo was the guy. Perfect fit here. Power bat, left-handed bat, and he fills your need at first base. Instead, they go get Schwarber, who plays outfield. He can play first base if you throw him over there and see maybe what happens, I guess. Rizzo was the guy to me.
Yep. So, we'll see. I think the Sox, they're in trouble. I think they're in big trouble. They're a game and a half now behind the Rays. They're only 5.5 games up on the Yankees, who, not that the Yankees are going to win anything this year, but if they just play, 5.5 games is not a lot down the stretch. So
it's only 2.5 to the A's as well, I think.
Yes. So I don't know. I think it's look out below. And I don't know. I guess I said this, if you're this close to if a move doesn't happen, it's gonna go south, then you're just not a championship team anyways. But it would be incredibly demoralizing to have a team that didn't have any expectations coming into the year, overachieves, is fun to watch, is having a good season, and if they completely just hose it the last month and a half.
Agreed. I also think if you're Heim Bloom, now they want to spew all the luxury tax crap now because we didn't
Shut
want
up
to go over
about
luxury
that.
tax.
Money.
Yeah, exactly. You're the Boston.
You're the
Red
Boston
Sox.
Red Sox.
You're not the Pittsburgh Pirates. So that's number one. But number two is like you could have done both things here. Still, that's what I'm saying. Rizzo's deal was not. It's not astronomical. The Yankees did not give up their 1 and 2 prospects or some crazy stuff like that. You know, the Red Sox could have made that deal and still built within their farm system. They wouldn't have had to give up astronomical names. It's not like they're giving up Cassis. So I don't know. I just feel like that deal could have been made.
So now a couple of days post trade deadline, we've seen how some of these things look. Who's the best team in Major League Baseball?
The Dodgers. I mean, I think that goes without saying. They got Scherzer and Trey Turner, I believe.
Yep.
Like, I mean, the rich get richer, and Mookie Betts is back, and yeah, they're going to probably be in it right to the end again.
Yep, I would agree with that. Let's hit quickly on the NFL. Training camp has started. I mean, already people wondered why the 49ers wanted to keep Garoppolo, even though they drafted Trey Lance. Look what's happened in Dallas, right? Prescott, a little bit of a shoulder issue. He's going to miss some time. Yep. Look what happened in Indianapolis. Carson Wentz, foot surgery
Shocker,
today.
huh?
Out 5 to 12 weeks. The glass man is already hurt, and we haven't even started preseason games. Have they even had a padded practice? I don't even know if they've had a padded practice.
No,
And the dude's having foot surgery. So why did the 49ers keep Garoppolo and Trey Lance? This is why. They wanted to try and probably hedge their bets. Let's go with the veteran guy while we're Super Bowl ready, but also have this guy waiting in the wings.
Yep.
But also the injury thing. These guys get hurt at any moment. Now, people say if you have 2 quarterbacks, you really have none. The Patriots have 2 quarterbacks. Because it doesn't seem like Cam Newton or Mac Jones is really separating themselves from the other, from what I can tell. You hear reports, Mac Jones had a really good day, and then you hear he had a bad day. And then Cam Newton had, he had a good day today, and then can't hit a guy in the flat. We've both said, I am done with the Cam Newton experience. As soon as I hear that he's not hitting a guy in the flat in practice, that's it. I know they love his versatility, but listen, in the NFL, in today's NFL, if you can't even hit a check down just to keep a defense honest, then you cannot function as a quarterback.
Well, it's Cam Newton's team. Belichick already said it. So,
well, which is it? He said one day everybody's going to clean slate, and the next day, Cam Newton's the starter. Yeah. So even Bills can't keep his story straight, which tells me that they just don't want to say it's Mac Jones' job because they want to keep the kid humble. But I think it's going to be Mac Jones. I really do. And if that's the case, Cam Newton better be gone because he will not be a happy camper, and I'd rather not have the distraction.
Cam Newton is going to be your starter week 1.
We'll see. I'm excited. Next Thursday, we finally have preseason games. Do you ever think you'd be excited about preseason football? I'm always excited to see that, it's that sign that football season's back and getting to see some guys playing out. But I'm legitimately, I don't want to miss the beginning. I want to sit down. I want to see what it looks like.
You know what I'm excited to see? This is kind of a weird thing, but for me, I want to see year 2 Kyle Duggar. That's kind of where I'm at. He's an interesting guy for me, just personally to watch because I think Chung retired. He's kind of stepping into this role. They got a lot of aging bodies back there. And I think he could be a key guy on the defense.
I agree. Well, and plus just to see everybody's kind of focused on the offense and they went out and got these receivers and they got the tight ends and now the defense is going to be really good too.
Yep.
And not that preseason is always an indicator. We've seen them go 4-0 in the preseason and then come out and have really bad, we look at the defense, they've got all these blitzes and all this and that, and then the defense is bend but don't break and they get shredded all year long. So,
sure.
But you can tell if a guy struggles in preseason, then that's a bad sign. Whenever there's those veteran guys who are out there in the fourth quarter of the last preseason game, you're like, yikes, he should be just in his shirt and t-shirt right now, but he's on the field. That is not a good sign.
Yeah.
So the preseason games do give you an indication of things to come. I think we're going to see Mac Jones starting sooner rather than later. Because I just don't think Cam Newton has it with the arm. And I'd be stunned. I'd be stunned even if week 1, if Cam Newton can't hit a flat route, if he's struggling to throw the ball and they keep putting him out there. I really won't understand anymore because now you actually have somebody to play.
Bill owes him. For whatever reason, they love each other.
Cam Newton and Tuukka Rask. Why? What do we owe?
I know. Yeah.
We owe Cam Newton, but we didn't owe Tom Brady.
I guess not. Yeah. I mean, I guess he wanted to suck. I don't know. I don't know what the logic is, but I just think I would be shocked if Mac Jones is in there before week 8.
I think highest percentage he plays. I think he plays week 4. Like I do think you're right. Like, should Mac Jones be the starter? Yes. Will he be? Probably not. I still am holding on to my storyline of Cam Newton just sucking wind against Tom Brady and Mac Jones comes in and gives it a run. Doesn't win the game, but makes it interesting.
Now, that's possible. That is possible.
That'll be the coming out game for Mac Jones. I'm refreshing Adrian Wojnarowski's page. Nothing really
Doesn't
all
look
that.
like anything recent. No.
Nothing all that new. Cody Zeller to the Trailblazers on a 1-year deal.
Wow.
Wow. Christian, describe Aaron Rodgers in one word.
I'll use 2 just because I have to put something in front of the word. Freaking tool.
I'm assuming you saw his press conference after his first day of training camp.
Yeah. Oh, I saw it.
And he gets up, and, I mean, on one hand, it's crazy to see the honesty. Like, a guy get up there and express what he's feeling and what's going on and being completely open and honest. On the other hand, dude, you sound like such a tool. He's complaining, and, like, he comes off like, I'm trying to, stand up for all these guys who I felt have been wronged by the organization, who either didn't get offers or didn't get enough money. And he lists off all these guys as if him wanting $40 million a year is not the reason why the Packers chose not to retain or pay those players. Is he totally that unself-aware to realize that, like, dude, you're the reason why. You wanting to be paid the most money is why they can't keep players. It baffles me. Like, you can't have both. You can't have both.
He just
like,
comes off as such a dick.
So what do you like?
Yeah.
It's honestly like, does he just not get it? Because if he gets it, if he understands math, and like is, competent and intelligent, which I think he is. I think he's a tool, but I think he's smart. He hosted Jeopardy, for crying out loud. And he can't logically see how him wanting to be paid at the top of the market could prevent them from fielding a better team around him and retaining players.
Just ridiculous.
Plus, also, that's business. I mean, like I said, on one hand, it was kind of cool and crazy to see a guy have a rant like that. On the other hand, it's also like, dude, are you even listening to yourself? And this is the problem I've said with these guys, like, who are disgruntled, like, being on the teams in camp. Like, Deshaun Watson, I've heard it's been an awkward training camp with him there. Like,
yeah, he's taking reps with, like, the 4s.
like, which is honestly what you should be doing. The dude wants
agreed,
out.
yeah.
I wouldn't be giving you first team reps.
No shot.
It's just Aaron Rodgers, man. Like, how do you not see
You know who Aaron Rodgers loves?
Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah. Boy, does he love himself some Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, God. That guy.
You want another one real quick?
Yeah.
Nothing too big, but part of the championship team here. PJ Tucker is going to the Heat as well. So the Heat
really?
Yeah.
That is actually surprising. So that's the first blow for Milwaukee. Because did they have? Well, we said this was a year for them. If they didn't win, that team was going to get broken up.
Yeah.
And who knows? Giannis could have pulled a James Harden or a Dame Lillard and said, "Thank you for the money. I ain't staying to see this ship crash."
Yeah.
So they weren't going to retain everybody, Everybody says nice in a championship parade. Let's run it back. I don't care about the money. Ba, 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 ba. PJ Tucker was an important piece for them. You know, like there was times where his defense was important. He may not have gotten stops, say against like Kevin Durant, but he's just a big, strong, physical guy who brings tenacity and can hit a corner three. That's a big piece for them. That is now somebody they're going to have to replace. I think that's like you win championship with those guys. You're going to have stars, but you win championship with guys like that. That's a huge blow from Milwaukee. And great for Miami. Miami, man, they're loading up. They're trying to go for it. I don't know if
they're good enough.
It'll work.
They're trying.
But they're trying. Any hoodles. Yeah, today is just constant. Isn't it good though? I mean, I'm glad that free agency started at 6:00 as opposed to like noon.
Yeah.
Because normally it starts at noon. It's like no productiveness throughout the day.
Pretty much.
Just refreshing Twitter all day. Yeah, I'll get those reports done. Not. Just refreshing Twitter all day. Lastly, and definitely not leastly, we got to talk about the Simone Biles thing and the Olympics. So there was a lot of reporting that day. Some people saying she's hurt. Other people saying, well, she's taking a step aside for, mental health reasons. Which, predictably, we always know there's going to be stupid people and idiotic people. And the internet is full of them. It was so over the top this time. I really don't get it. And I want to attack the people who were calling her weak or soft for quitting. People saying she's quitting. Or she had this spot. If she knew she wasn't going to be able to compete, somebody else could have. They travel with the alternates. So her replacement was there. She didn't steal anybody's spot. They had somebody, they always do, somebody ready to go. That argument, totally gone. In terms of soft, what I think is, because if you watch the qualifiers, she screwed up during the qualifiers, and it was like, oh, wow. And I thought, you know what? She's such a perfectionist. That's something that'll fuel her, and she'll come out and she'll win a gold and say, I slipped on the bars back in Houston, and I've been thinking about it, and it focused me, and I was ready to attack the Olympics, and I was committed to being perfect, blah, blah, blah. Then she didn't look right here either. And so I think there was probably a small injury. And then allegedly what she had was the twisties. Something I had never heard of. Here's what it is. When you're up there in the air, we look at these things that these girls and guys do. It's incredible. How high they get, how many times they turn and land and spin. It's all muscle memory. You're not thinking. You're just doing it. The twisties is when you're in the air and you lose sense of where you are. You don't know if you're up or down or left or right, how many times you've spun, and you panic, as you would. Now, guess what? When you got the yips in baseball, you can't throw to first. Oops. Or you got the yips in golf, you keep short putting it. Oops. You got the yips in gymnastics, you could literally break your neck.
Or
Soft?
Another body part.
Soft? Any of these people calling her soft, go out there and try and do it. I saw a great line. The people who say she's soft are the same people complaining about wearing a mask in a Wegmans.
Yeah.
But soft? No. It's called self-preservation. And I think being a good teammate. If you know you don't have it, it takes more guts to say, I don't have it. It's best for the team if somebody else does it instead. That takes guts. One, you're going to not risk your own health, and you're actually helping the team out. Total win. She's an incredible advocate and should get totally applauded for the way she's handled this. But obviously, as we know, the internet and stupid people see it differently.
Yeah, I agree with you. Pretty much just about everything you said there. I don't really have any words for people that are saying you're soft, you shouldn't have gone, stay home, let somebody else compete. Now, obviously, that argument is what it is. You there's alternates there. That's scrapped right away, so you have no ground to stand on there. The other is, you're right, it's the exact same people that complain about wearing a mask or that are complaining about God knows what in today's day and age. And instead of worrying about someone's mental health, they just want to call them names and they want to, even beat them down even further for some dumb reason. I don't understand anymore at this point. Don't really have an explanation for those people. We're in a day and age where whether it's the twisties or just her own mental sake, whatever it is, we're in a day and age where mental health stuff matters. Okay. So you want to say like, oh, that injury was bad, right? You never know what's going on in somebody else's mind or head. So your torn ACL could just be the same thing as someone's mental health. And it's on a different playing field for some reason. We take mental health and we shove it down to the ground like, oh, get over it. Be tougher. You're soft or something like that. Whereas you have a knee injury, like, ooh, prayers, right? Bless up. I don't understand where the miscommunication is between just physical and mental. I think they should be on an even keel.
I agree. Yeah. Perfect. And you're right. I mean, I hadn't even thought of it that way too. When you say like, oh, somebody gets a physical injury, everybody's sending thoughts and prayers and good thoughts and good vibes, right?
Yeah.
Somebody who's mentally struggling needs those things too. So you can send good vibes, but if somebody's feeling bad vibes, they just have to get over it.
Yeah, and they're soft.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to take every single person who says that she was soft, or says that any other person for something like this is soft, go out there and get on a balance beam. Love to see it. Go get on the uneven bars. I want to see it. Do her routine. Go and do it.
Let me just also just run through this. 2-time Olympian, right? 2016 and then 2020. She's got 4 golds, 1 silver, 1 bronze. And in 2016, she got gold in team all-around, vault, floor, and the bronze beam. So, like, all of a sudden now she's just soft. She can't compete. She's soft. It's just like, I think these people that sit on Twitter all day and just use their thumbs, they obviously are not up to speed on what it takes to be an Olympic athlete, right? I don't think anybody realizes how much work goes into that.
What did you say? I'll never be as good at anything in my life as Simone Biles is at gymnastics.
Pretty much. Yep. And that still goes to today. Yeah.
Pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. Speaking of refreshing Twitter, I'm gonna do that right now. I don't think we're gonna have any more. There ain't gonna be any more big news the rest of this night in the NBA. All the small moves. Oh, Corey Joseph is nearing an agreement with the Detroit Pistons.
Corey Joseph, oh my God. It's going to be a lot of the smaller names now because I think a lot of the bigs are off the board.
Yeah. Gorgie Jang has agreed to terms with the Atlanta Hawks, 1 year, $4 million.
I just saw that. That's a big one.
So there'll be more to react to next weekend. I mean, Christian, how do we feel here? I mean, I think we've discussed this. I kind of like the Monday night shows. Roll this into the fall, and we're prepping you for Monday Night Football, reacting to Sunday's action. I think I kind of like this Monday night thing.
Yeah, I think it could stick. I think obviously in the summer, right? I mean, there's some nice weekends, and you got to take advantage of them. So
yeah,
roll it into the fall, and I think.
Plus, I know
people might be engaged with football.
Plenty of Sundays are going to be loaded up, though. I mean, I think we have a pretty busy Sunday sometime in September, right?
Not that busy.
No big deal.
Anywho's,
that is going to do it for tonight's show. So thank you to everybody who tuned in on the live stream. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. Normally on Sundays, but I think we're going to start transitioning to Mondays here. This just seems to work out. As the rest of the world adapts to things, so too does the 360 Sports Show, and Mondays may be our new home. So stay tuned to our social media for any announcements on that. But if you couldn't catch us live, you can always catch us as a podcast through Sounder FM or wherever you get your podcasts from. And if you want to interact with us and you're a podcast listener, you can always email the show with your thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns at the360sportshow@gmail.com. So that'll do it for us here tonight. I'm Andrew Pizzelli. He's Christian Lauber, and we'll talk to you all next week.
See ya.